Someone the other day said to me, Mick, who do you think you are, Eminem? I wish. Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most, just ask your girlfriends and your wives. A very warm welcome to Monday's edition of today's video. And I think we can call it the DCU Daily still, because if you're a DC fan, you're going to want to watch this video. Pay attention, because what we're talking about, the Battle of the Blockbusters, is very important. We have big trailers this week coming out of 4 big blockbusters coming this summer. It's very, very exciting, if not just for DC fans, but if you're a film fan in general. This is the biggest year because he's bringing back the blockbusters. We haven't had the Battle of the Blockbusters. It was something we used to do in the 80s, the 90s, even the early noughties. We don't do that anymore. So let's look at this list. Remember, you can follow me on X, Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and on Instagram and on Threads at Movies TV Mad X. So we have this week the Final Destination 6 trailer, Jurassic World Rebirth, which is getting a trailer finally this week. Now this is Universal. Universal are the biggest movie studio in the world. They're the most successful now. Sorry, Disney shills, that's just a fact. Marvel's Fantastic Four, How to Train Your Dragon. We're getting trailers for all these movies this week, and I couldn't be more excited. So I'm not just a DC fan. I'm a fan of scripted entertainment. I'm a movie fan. I want to see these trailers, and I'm not going to sit here, crapping on these trailers on purpose because I'm a Superman fan or a DC fan. But this list I've read to you shows you the measure of the situation that DCU is in, that Superman is in, but especially DC Studios and Warner Brothers Discovery are in. This is a huge year, and despite what some fans think, Superman isn't going to have it all its own way. And people say to me, well, Mick, people will go and see all the movies. Look, the law of averages say this: some of these films on this list, including Superman, will be more successful than others. Some will tank. Now, the reality is here, being the first year in many years that we've got the Battle of the Blockbusters, I know we had Barbieheimer, and that was fun and everything, and both movies shared the floor, and both movies did well. I still think that Barbie jumped on the back of Oppenheimer, and without Oppenheimer, Barbie wouldn't have been the success that it became. And ultimately, Barbieheimer wouldn't surprise me if it was a Warner Brothers brainchild, a very, very good brainchild, if you ask me. Barbie made money because of its marketing, not necessarily because it was a great movie. But this isn't just 2 movies. This is quite a few movies, right? If we're just looking at the movies here on this list, which is Final Destination 6, which probably isn't going to be big competition for Superman, Jurassic World, basically, these 3 movies these are the big 3 that I think could potentially make more money than Superman. Jurassic World Rebirth is huge. Jurassic World movies, Jurassic Park movies, recently, the Jurassic World ones have made around $1 billion, whether they're good or bad. So remember that. Looking forward to that movie. Scarlett Johansson stars. I'm a big Scarlett Johansson fan. Brilliant actor. Marvel's Fantastic Four, huge. This is in direct competition with Superman. This is Superman's ultimate competition. Now, some DC fans have been on their prayer mats hoping that Fantastic Four will be moved to November. Now, we'll see when the marketing material starts flooding out this week if they have changed the date. It's very, very unlikely. It looks like it's sticking to its date, and so it should. I've heard good things about Marvel's Fantastic Four. There has been kind of a casting swap with Silver Surfer. It's a female Silver Surfer instead of a male one. Some people have made a fuss about that. That's not going to hurt this movie if it's as good as I hear it is. Very interesting. And How to Train Your Dragon. I'm actually reading a list here of most anticipated trailers, and the lowest, the Final Destination 6 and How to Train Your Dragon. It's a live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon. I'm actually quite excited about this film. I think this film could be a sleeping giant. I think this film in the box office could actually surprise a lot of people. And Final Destination 6, I think, could do something quite big as well. But we'll see. I mean, the Final Destination franchise is quite big. Actually, they've probably made more money recently than DC movies have, if you think about the DCEU. Anyway, but it's Marvel's Fantastic Four and Jurassic World Rebirth that are the big hitters. And you would imagine that Superman to Jurassic World Rebirth and to Marvel's Fantastic Four is the big competition. There is competition. People are not just going to go and watch all the movies. There will be a decision made by the public. Here's the reality of the situation. The money's not made by people going once to watch a movie. A decision is made when you go and watch a movie. If you go and watch all of them, right? If you're a member of the general audience and you watch all of them, you make a decision which movie you're going to see again and again and again. And very rarely these days do movies have a lot of rewatchability, but this is what happens with big mainstream movies. People decide which one they're going to keep on going to. The reason Deadpool and Wolverine made so much money is because people kept on going back. Now, interestingly, with Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, it did make shy just under 900 million, just shy of $900 million because it had a huge opening. But, interestingly, people still kept on going to watch it. It had a massive drop-off. There's no hiding from that. But the fact that such a divisive movie nearly reached 900 million says a lot about that. It's not the flop that people would have you believe. But it is a very interesting battle of the blockbusters. It's an interesting situation, really, isn't it? Because this is the first year that we've got so many blockbusters in the same year, around the same time. And I'm very excited to see these trailers. I haven't decided if I'm going to do trailer reactions to them. I will see how I feel, because here in Europe, when it's daytime, let me say that again. In Europe, when it's daytime and they release these trailers in the US, it's nighttime. It's not so easy for me with a basic camera to do trailer reactions, at nighttime. But I could do it tomorrow. I could wait. So when each trailer is released, I could wait till the next day. Then we could talk about each trailer. Maybe I'll do that if there's not much DC news going about. But listen, we are in an era of a very sophisticated audience. The audience is very sophisticated today. A lot more sophisticated than my generation ever was. We didn't need to be sophisticated because the people making scripted entertainment, especially movies, were the sophisticated ones. They did the sophistication for us. But the people making movies today are not sophisticated. They're used car salesmen. That's what they are. And instead of making great entertainment to automatically make money and make profits, they try and spin the narrative, and it doesn't work. And we live in different times, but the audience is a lot more sophisticated. The audience knows what it wants, what it doesn't want, and the audience knows when it's being sold a lemon. Despite me defending Joker Folie and Toi, the general audience said, no, we're not going to watch this film. We don't want to watch a comic book movie musical. That's why it failed, by the way. I quite liked the film. I thought it was very arty, artistic, fun. I'm not a big musical guy, but I did enjoy it. But I understand why people didn't flock to it, and I understand the hatred for it, but I personally enjoyed it for what it was. But the audience are very sophisticated, and they will know if they're being sold a lemon. And I think this is very important when it comes to Superman. People will know if Superman is going to be a genuine great movie. People will have made their minds up. I think the teaser trailer went down incredibly well, but that TV spot certainly didn't. Now, it's interesting, Real Rejects, a very successful YouTube platform, were trying to defend that flying TV spot sequence. And they were trying to criticize people who criticized that sequence. What you got to remember with Real Rejects, in these huge platforms, they have access. They're always going to take the side of the creatives, the directors, and the studios. But no serious person can sit there making excuses for that TV spot and the flying. The face looks terrible, and I've explained to you why, because the hands are down by the side. That's what destroys that shot. I don't know if the face has CG or not. I don't care. Isn't it interesting when we look at how films are made today? As you know, I'm rewatching Game of Thrones. When you look at Game of Thrones, it was shot on a multitude of locations. The skies that you saw were real skies. The castles and the buildings were either historical buildings or they were built for the show. The guy who did a lot of the sets and built a lot of the location stuff lived next door to my brother, by the way. I've never mentioned that before. The most talented people worked on that show. There's more money. There was more money spent. There was more artistry. There's more construction. There was more location shoots. The only CGI you really saw, I think, on Game of Thrones was the dragons. And, you know, Daenerys' dragons were better CGI than I've seen in most movies today. It's interesting that, isn't it? That a TV show had better production values than most movies today. Apparently, the reported not box office, but the reported budget for Superman is around 180 million. The shills and the stands are denying that. I don't know how much this film cost. I made a prediction it will be around 120 to 140. I thought this could be one of the most cheapest budgeted Superman films ever made. But as we keep on saying, the proof of the pudding is within the eating. But make no mistake, Superman has real competition. And its competition is Jurassic World Rebirth and its Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four is a film I'm really looking forward to seeing the trailer for. Everyone who's ever read Fantastic Four loves Fantastic Four. There's been animation. We had those two movies in the early noughties that got crapped on a lot. I mean, that other film they did afterwards was terrible. I can't defend that. But those first two movies were okay. Were they perfect? Were they too light? Did they try and be too funny? Yes, I think they did. But they had a strong cast, and I think they worked for certain amounts of the audience. I don't know if they flopped or not, but I think the first one's probably slightly better than the second one, even though you've got Silver Surfer and a great Silver Surfer. I think it's still a good movie, by the way. But this is going to be a serious Fantastic Four movie. But important to remember, it's set in another universe. I don't think it's set within the MCU Earth 1. I think I'm recalling that correctly. Now, we know who Robert Downey Jr. is playing. So, he's playing Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is a Fantastic Four character. He's from that universe. Now, if Robert Downey Jr. was to show up at this trailer, on this trailer, if he's involved in this film, because that hasn't been announced, we know he's going to be in the Avengers movies as Doctor Doom, if that's actually exactly who he's going to play, and he's not going to play some alternate universe Iron Man. I don't know. It looks like he's playing Doctor Doom. And there's been a lot of opinions about that. But Marvel, the MCU, are in trouble. They need Robert Downey Jr. It's as simple as that. But they brought back the Captain America 2 directors, of course, who are great directors, and the Avengers Infinity War directors, the Avenger Endgame directors. They did all of that. They were great. The Russo brothers, very talented. It is good to have them back. It is important to have them back for Marvel and their fans and Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige. So the reveal of this trailer is as big as the reveal for the Superman trailer was. It's huge for them that people like what they see. And then when I see this trailer, I'll be able to tell, as a movie guy who's been watching movies, whose dad worked for a studio, I'll be able to understand if it's a good film or not. From seeing the Superman trailer, I like the trailer, and I think there could be something substantial within the movie that doesn't guarantee success. It doesn't guarantee it's going to be a great movie. Superman Returns had some great sequences in its full trailer, but ultimately it didn't make a profit. It made under 400 million. It was a very expensive movie. It didn't make bank, and WB didn't want to continue it. They actually did greenlight it, and then they changed their minds during the 2009 Writers Guild of America strikes. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Superman, but I think these films are huge competition, and I think Superman does have its work cut out, and only time will tell. This is incredibly exciting. The Battle of the Blockbusters is coming.